welcome to another video, and today I thought it would be a great time to have a conversation about should next-gen consoles launch this fall. The biggest reason for me making this video is just earlier today it was announced that Halo Infinite has now been delayed to 2021. And Halo Infinite being, as I've already told you guys, was my most anticipated game of this year, now is delayed till next year. And one of the biggest reasons I was really excited about the launch of the next Xbox, that leaves a lot of questions here about why are we exactly launching these new consoles this fall when there's just not a lot of killer apps. So I thought we'd have some fun discussing that today. So yes, the rumors are true. 343 Industries announced today that Halo Infinite has now been delayed until sometime 2021. One of the reasons they're citing is the current global pandemic. I have a little bit of an issue with this. I kind of wish they were a little more honest in their statement and just kind of said, hey, you know what, the game didn't look the way that we wanted it to look in that trailer, and we're working on fixing that and adjusting it so that everyone is happy about Halo Infinite. And instead, using the current global situation as kind of a scapegoat, I think is just a tad scummy. But again, I fully understand why the game's getting delayed. Yes, is it a huge bummer? I understand that, and I feel bad that this has happened. But at the same time, I completely understand. I would rather have Halo Infinite be delayed and come out as the excellent game that I want it to be than to be rushed out the door this fall and be a mediocre experience. But that pegs the question of, why are we buying next-gen systems this fall? You know, you look at the launch lineup right now for PS5, the only real confirmed game for launch that is a first-party game is Spider-Man Miles Morales, and if I'm being honest, it's an expansion. It's not a full game. Sony's already come out and said it's more of an expansion to the previous Spider-Man game than a full new experience. It's going to be the same city from Spider-Man, except you're going to be playing as Miles Morales. It's going to be a little bit more stretched out, and it's going to look a lot better on PS5. But then you have to ask the question, will Sony really put Miles Morales out as a PS5 exclusive? Right now, the PS4 install base is hovering around 130 million units sold through. That's insane. It's one of the best performing consoles of all time. Are you really gonna make that install base go out and buy a new system to play this game? There's arguments for both sides, but honestly, when I look at it, I just don't see Sony doing that. I see Sony making the game on PS4 and PS5. So, and if that happens, again, not confirmed, but if that happens, then what are you left with as a Sony first-party game at launch? A remake of Demon's Souls? Now, I'm going to be honest, a remake of Demon's Souls is the reason I would buy a PS5 at launch without question. It is the only Souls game that I never finished, and I really want to play it again, and I think a remake of it is a fantastic endeavor. But I don't see that as being a launch title. They haven't talked about it since its trailer at the PS5 event a month ago. What is your PS5 launch title? Like what is it then? Horizon 2 isn't until 2021. You know? So you don't have any other core killer app to launch this system with. And on Microsoft's side, the one argument I would point to all day was Halo. Halo's not part of that equation anymore. And in recent years, in this last generation, in terms of Microsoft had three core pillar franchises going into the Xbox One, and those were Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. Now, as we're coming out of the Xbox One generation and transitioning into this next generation, of those three pillars, only one really still stands tall, and that is Forza. And the next Forza game is not a launch title and is not coming out anytime soon. The franchise like Gears of War, I think, is in shambles right now. Yes, I think Gears Tactics was a pretty interesting game, but Gears 5 was a desecration of that franchise. And I don't know if the Coalition can pick up those pieces and make a Gears 6 that I care about. Halo, on the other hand, and this is why this is so pivotal to me in terms of the Series X launch, is Microsoft, their mascot is Master Chief, okay? Halo is the system that launched the Xbox to success back in 2001. And as of right now, and as it will continue to stand, the original Xbox is the only Microsoft console that ever launched with a Halo game. And that was one of the reasons I was really excited about the Series X launch, is this system was going to launch with a Halo game. Now it's not. And so now you're left with what exclusive first-party big title at launch for Microsoft? Nothing. So, not even a Forza game. And so, you start asking the questions to yourself like, okay, so why am I buying a next-gen system at launch when there's no killer apps? Now, that answer for me personally is backwards compatibility and forward compatibility with these systems. One of the most awesome things about the Xbox Series X, and I wish more people would talk about this, is the fact that Xbox is going to play 4 generations of Xbox games. It's the first console to ever do this, and not enough people are banging that drum. On the other side of that, you have Xbox Game Pass, a service that is just dominating right now. I can't think of a better deal in all of gaming. Microsoft has taken all these great steps at the end of this generation to set up this next generation, and now one of those pieces is gone with Halo. But I still feel like, for me personally, there's a lot in that Xbox equation that makes me still confident about buying a Series X at launch. I'm really excited to play these older games at maybe a higher frame rate, or maybe with ray tracing, like in sense for like games like Control or Doom Eternal. Those are going to offer ray tracing and higher 4K graphics, also 60 frames per second on the next Xbox. I think that's awesome. I've actually personally held off on playing both of these Control DLCs to play it on the Xbox Series X, and I'm glad I'm doing that now because I won't have Halo to play at launch, so I need something to play at launch. But right now, for me, at launch day, it looks like I'm just playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And that's it. So we're going into another console generation where both companies are just going to rely on third-party support. And your big games at launch are going to be, as I mentioned, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion. Those are kind of your big launch games. Dirt 5 is your racing game. But they're on both consoles. So the argument for which one to pick is going to be a little harder. Now, I've talked about this on the channel before, and I still stand by. I plan on getting both of these systems at launch. Now, will that change? May that change? Sure. Anything's possible. Right now, if I was in the boat where I had to choose, I would still choose the Xbox, and that's because I think their pro-consumer message is just so much stronger than Sony's right now. You know, we're in mid-August now, and I still don't know what the forwards compatibility argument is on Sony's side. I'm still waiting, and we still don't have prices on these machines. You know, rumors right now are swirling that the Xbox Series X is going to be as low as $400 because of the two companies, Microsoft can afford to lowball the system a little bit to really dig the knife into Sony. And with the PS5, specifically the disk drive system, that system is probably $500, with the digital version being $400. And that's a good argument. And for someone like me, you know, I took a look today at my game collection and the Xbox games that I own and the PlayStation games that I own. I own about 80 physical PS4 games and about 65 to 70 Xbox One physical games. The cool thing about Xbox is I know all those games are going to work. I'm going to be able to put those into my system and play them on day one. This is not counting any digital games I own. PlayStation, I have 80 PS4 games. Right now, I know that maybe 2 of them are going to work on the PS5. So I don't know what the side of the argument is for the PS5. I don't know where that's going to land. Again, that begs the question of, why are we upgrading this fall? And also, in the middle of a global pandemic, you have to factor in there are, you know, large amounts of people that are without jobs, without work right now. They're struggling to support their families right now. They're not going to be looking at dropping $400, $500, $600 on a new console and games when they can barely afford to put food on the table. So really, right now, I'm kind of waiting to see, but it just feels like one of these companies are going to say, you know what? Let's not launch this system this fall. Let's wait until March or April or something like that. And I think if it happened, if one of the systems, you know, one of the platform holders said, hey, you know what? We're not going to launch this fall. We thought about it. It's just not a good idea. We'll launch in the spring. I think everybody would be better for it. However, I'm still excited to get new systems this fall if it does stay the course. So I would love to know in the comments below, what do you think about the current state of the next generation? Do you think it should launch this fall? Do you think they should delay it till next spring? Do you think Halo Infinite being delayed is a huge deal? Or do you think that Halo Infinite being delayed is a smart decision? I'd love to know. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.